Welcome to STL City Showdown. I'm AJ, and joined with me is Steve. Andre's off today, so it's just going to be us, and you're going to have to suffer with us without Andre. Which, still, suffering with us is still less than watching that, whatever that was. Most podcasts are probably going to be complaining about the game. We're no different, probably. Yeah. Instead, we're actually going to start with goal or no goal, where you complain, and we complain about you complaining. Yes. How's that sound, Steve?
Dude, that sounds so great. There were so many hot takes last night. Some we agree with, some there's no way we're going to agree with. And I think that's good. I think it's better than just wallowing in our own filth. I think we can hear people complain. You may recognize your username on here, and you may think we're nuts, and I think that's okay. So you want to kick it off?
Yeah, let me pull this up here. So the first one, I think you're going to like this. Absolutely light, right?
Nice.
On Blue Sky, the shin guard says, I blame the Cowlers.
Oh, dude, it's the itty bitty little Kawas. You have to blame the Kawas. And that cute little button, you got to, man. You got to. Yes.
Goal or no goal?
Goal for sure. What about you?
I'm never going to blame the Cowlers. You know, I like my Cowlers. I just can't. I can't do it.
You know, sorry. my $20 Chinese knockoff would agree with you. It's not the worst. If the team was in first place, like I think we all expected them to be at the beginning of the season, no one would give a shit about the Cowlers. No one would care. It's we have to find a goat to pick on, right?
And by the way, guys, don't. I know some people have some really, really bold opinions about the Chinese knockoffs and the team not getting money. If it makes you guys feel better, he's a teacher and he makes like absolutely no money. So he literally could not buy an authentic jersey if he wanted to. So give him a little bit of grace here for his $20 knockoff.
You know what? Venmo me some cash. You know, if you're upset about the fact that I bought a knockoff jersey, send me some money, and then it'll be okay. Then I will use your money to buy a fresh, crisp jersey, and then I'll put your name on it. How about that? I'll put your name on it. Guys. All right. How about this one? I have to say it with a bit of a hoity-toity accent because this is how this person came off. On Reddit, Aaron Trio says, I request an attitude check. What's wrong with a lot of us? Yeah, it sucks when team dynamics aren't clicking, but what on God's green flat earth is up with the straight up hating on our team? We're not allowed to be upset. We're allowed to be upset, but simply chiming in to say we suck or whatever, F that. Downvote my cheerleading, I guess, but let's effing go. Goal or no goal? We need to calm down as fans.
No goal.
No goal. See, this is that best fans in baseball attitude where we always have to support the team no matter what, or we're not real fans, and it sucks, and it has to go away.
You know, the one thing I do like about soccer is the fans are some of the most passionate fans of any sport. They just are. I'm not saying that there's not passionate American football fans or baseball or whatever, but it just seems like soccer people are just nuts. It's awesome. Like, heck, we're doing a podcast about them. Like, he has an entire room. I have this like little corner decorated. I mean, we're just all nuts. We just are. And I just can't wait for hopefully this happens. The supporter groups to start to get angry about all this and start to write like the angry letters, protest, whatever, because that's what soccer fans do. Now, Steve, I know we talked about this off air, but I think we're kind of new, and I think the supporter groups are starting to learn things. I don't think they're going to protest. Do you? Yet?
No, I don't think that we're bold enough yet to do that. It would be great to see. It would be great for us to see some sort of a walkout threatened and then a walkout happen. When the Rapids fans had enough of the team last year when they won the Spoon 2 years ago, they all went to the stadium, they hung banners in the supporter section, and then they all left. That was dynamic. And now that team is in the upper half of the Western Division, and that team is winning because the fans showed that they matter. When LA Galaxy was in the dumpster at the beginning of last year, the fans actually came out and they actually hosted a very successful protest against the team to the point where the general manager actually resigned. He was going to resign at the end of the season or something, but he actually left early. And then they came back and then the team did what they did. But like I think as long as we're putting 22,000 bodies into these seats and the supporters section is in there, they're doing their thing, nothing's going to change. This is the Cardinals. Nothing is going to change. My son, my 17-year-old son, actually commented that the other night. He says, are they just the Cardinals where they're just going to always be in a slow rebuild and we just are hoping for the next big draft? I'm like, I think so. I think this team is poised to always just simmer. That's what I got.
Okay, so I got a question for you then.
Yeah, man.
Kind of goal or no goal here. I'll say it's Lute's fault. Now, here's the thing. We know that Lutz hired the coach, but I would actually disagree with it because that's what we're seeing online a lot is that Lutz hired the head coach. The realistic thing is it probably was a panel of people. I really don't think it was just him. I guarantee you Diego, who's in charge of Lutz, was probably on there. There might have been some other people in the organization. Maybe even Hackworth was part of the interview committee. And I don't think this is just Lutz that hired this guy. In fact, what we don't know, and before everybody starts blaming Lutz, there's a chance that Diego overrode Lutz, and we'll never find this out, and said, hey, we need to hire this guy. Maybe he was a tie-breaking vote, or maybe he used his power. I don't know. All I know is when Diego jumped in, we started getting worse. So goal or no goal, it's Lutz's fault.
What do I call it? Is it own goal? Like, yeah. Like you have to hold the person that does the hiring accountable, but also what if the ownership and the people in charge are not giving still the money? They're not opening up the pocketbooks. Like the stadium's probably close to being paid off. That was our excuse in 23 and towards the first half of last year where we have to pay the mortgage down. But every game has been pretty much sold out but one. And we need to see more players. We should not. I mean, we don't know why he's relying on the Bundesliga too. Like, what if those are the best cheap players he can find, and this is what we have? We have to. I think by this point we're showing that that's not enough. Now, the only way the team is going to get that message is if the fans stop showing up. And I get that the majority of the fans are younger than you and I. The majority of the fans were probably born in a year that started with the number 2. And they are super passionate and they are still going to come no matter what. They're not like us octogenarians that were born in a year that started with 1, and they're not going to see that you have to force something. And I just think we're sounding like boomers and we're just not that's not getting through. And until that happens, until you look over and there's 8,000 people in that stadium, nothing is going to really happen.
Yeah, I just kind of look out though. I know we're all blaming Lutz, and maybe part of it's his fault too. I just
Yeah.
wonder if it was truly his hire or somebody else's. But you're right about the players. I mean, he is the one that is finding most of these players. But then the question is, like you said, is it that this is the cheapest players we can find, or is this just him not being able to look outside of it?
Right. There's probably a reason why he has to. Like, the Minnesota announcers last night made a comment that Lutz was a German and 12 of the current players on the starting roster are from the Bundesliga or the Bundesliga 2. And like they made that little quippy comment about that. But like, why is he having to stick there? Why are we not going into other countries, other areas? Why are we having to stick to there? And possibly he's got those connections, and I would hate to think that's what he has to do. I
Well,
thought it was arrogance. What if it is? What if he has to stick there?
I think it's more than that. So the thing is let's be honest about where we live in St. Louis. We're not the LA. We're not the Miami. We're not the New York, right? Like we're in St. Louis. Now, I love St. Louis. I think you do too, this area, the Midwest, just in general. I love the Midwest. That's my bread and butter. I love it. And I actually lived on the East Coast for a year. I lived in Detroit for 4, and I just love St. Louis. The problem, though, is when you're talking about these European guys and they're coming over here, it's going to be harder to bring people here, especially if they want to go back home. Now it's not direct flights. If you live in New York, you probably can get a direct flight easily. Here, not so much. So the thing is, it's going to be harder to bring people over. Now, if you ask these guys who have lived in Germany their whole life, played in Germany their whole life, to move to a foreign country, that they don't really understand the customs, it's a lot easier to convince somebody to say, hey, Steve, I want you to move to this other country, and there's going to be 10 other teammates from literally the same country as you
Yeah.
and maybe even the same town as you, it's a much easier sell to bring those players over. If we get somebody else who is a young kid that's 20 years old, like remember, these guys are young. They're not like you, Steve, who's like 60 years old, right?
Hey, wait a
These
second.
guys are like a third of your age,
Hey, wait a second.
and this is new for them. Yeah.
I'm feeling bullied. Okay, real quick story. I know you got to get there. So I teach middle school, and I was walking through the hallway, and I was listening to some of these students talk, and I overheard two girls talking to each other, and one of them commented, "You, my dad is so old, he's half of 100." I had to take a pause. I'm like, I'm only 6 years away from that. I'm only 6 years away from being called icky because I'm a half of 100. That messed me up. That really hurt for a while. I was like, he's trying his hardest, dear. Like, leave him alone. He has a mortgage. Then he's got you as a daughter. I'm sure you're not a peach, but like, call him icky because he's half of 100. I'm glad she knew what half 100 was, to be honest. Like, oh, that was an accomplishment in itself. All right.
Speaking of birthdays and all that, my girlfriend was able to kind of get our D&D group together for kind of like a surprise birthday. And we all went together for the first time together to D20. So we were like geeking out. If you guys don't know what D20 is, and you probably won't get the reference unless you're familiar with D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, but it's basically like a nerd bar.
Yep.
Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. They had got games laying around. It's set up so that you can have like these little sessions. So we actually went there, and I'm really glad that she brought us together because we got to do our campaign in person. And for this campaign, Steve is actually our DM, and he tortured us with a really strong, crazy battle that we almost all perished and had a total party kill. So we're like drinking. Of course, it's 11 a.m. on a Saturday. So like we were drinking stuff, and Steve is like ordering coffee and everything. And then the server's pretty cool. Their name was Q.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Star Trek Q. He also had other nicknames, right?
Yeah. All right. So we were in our fields and we were playing, and I had ordered a coffee, and he brought me this coffee in like a really wacky mug. It was like in a cow. It was like in a cow shape, and it was weird because it didn't hold a lot of coffee, and I drink a ton, and I had drank the coffee very quickly. And as he was coming back, he was joking, and I had my coffee, and I said, "Hey, Q, Daddy needs more coffee." And he paused. He's like, "What? What did you say to me?" And I was like, "Yeah, Daddy needs more coffee." And he's like, "I have never." He's like, "Why are you doing?" I'm like, "Okay, fine. Then I'll call you Daddy." I say, "Hey, Daddy, give me coffee." He says, "I have worked in bars. I have worked here. I have never ever been called Daddy." I'm like, "I'm sorry, you're younger. How about Zaddy? Does Zaddy work for you? Zaddy, can I have more coffee?" And he was like so put off by that. And like he went and he came back, and later he joked and said, "I added the daddy tax onto your bill. It was 50% tip." I was like, "Okay, I own that. That's fine." But yeah, I called a random guy daddy, and then I did the ubu sound, and it really creeped me out. I was like, "Ubu daddy," and like he got I was like, "Just give me my coffee." Like, I just need my coffee.
Yes, it was as awkward as it sounds in person when he said that. Because so the one thing about Steve is he is like truly ADD. So we're focusing on the game and just without a beat. Like he wasn't thinking about this. He wasn't trying to be funny. He just says, "Daddy needs more coffee," just like randomly. And I don't even think it hit him until he looked over at the server, and the server's just like stone cold paralyzed. Like he
Yeah.
cast like some kind of hold person spell on him.
Yeah.
And he's just like looking at him like, "What did you say?" And it's
Yeah.
hilarious. Now the cool thing is it went over well, and it was just kind of like a little running joke, and it was hilarious. But yeah, that's what ADD does to you. And I guarantee you, there's some people listening right now that probably have like 1,000 stories like this.
I thought, "Oh damn, I just sexually harassed this guy."
Yeah. Okay. So I got another one for you.
Nice.
So this is from Reddit. Formallet3532 said, "When Hack came in last year, guys played for him. It's clear Olaf has no connection with these players. It seems like he punishes players and holds a grudge. Half the team is playing out of their natural position. The only game where we had offense, we used a 4-back system and haven't used it since." Goal or no goal?
They said a lot there. I don't know if these players are out of their position. I think a lot of them have been in the position, but I would agree that they played for Hack, but I think that's probably because you had the new coach bump. It's a fact, it happens, but then it kind of leveled out. We kind of just finished the season almost just kind of cruising. So I say at the beginning, people have rose-colored glasses on how this season went last year. They're not really remembering that we didn't turn into a powerhouse under Hackworth. We were just there. It seemed better than with Carnell because we actually won a match, but I don't think it'll be better because it wasn't better last year. It was different. So I would say no goal because it wasn't. I don't think it was because of Hack. I think it was because it's almost like the players wanted to show that it wasn't they were trying to play up. So no, I'm going to say no goal on that. What about you?
I'm going to actually say goal here. Actually, you made a great point with that last thing you said. But as far as players playing out of position, let's kind of think about this. So Watts is playing essentially a right wing back role. He's really more of a midfielder. So like a right midfielder, like a center midfielder, although he's a little versatile. But the thing is he's obviously not been doing great this year. There was a lot of people super high on him last year and thought, hey, this guy might turn out to be something, and he hasn't. Celio is a high left winger. And guess what? He's been asked to play a left wing back role, so coming all the way back less in his position. We have Hartle, who is an attacking midfielder slash kind of winger, and he's been playing more defensively for most of this year, so he's out of position. Hebert, in my opinion, is a much better center back than a wing back, and I believe he's played wing back some this year, so he's been partially out of position, although he does kind of go there. I'm sure there's some others that I can think of offhand, but I just there are a lot of people that are out of position. There's no doubt about it. So I'm going to have to give this person a goal here. I agree with the other stuff you said, so I'll give Steve a goal.
Yeah.
Yay! Somebody won something.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for you
Yeah, go ahead.
because you're going to like this one. This is a interesting one. This is hot take. Shoddy Effect 188 on Reddit said, even Berkey didn't show up for this one. It looks to me that they're prioritizing the Open Cup match. I think they'll lose that one as well, but I'm pretty sure that's a priority.
I will argue that. Okay, we were talking about this before. Berkey definitely wasn't super great, but he wasn't horrible. He had a couple really good saves to the point where the Minnesota announcers were really amazed by them. So I won't say that Berkey didn't show up. What I'll say is that it does seem that the team is sticking in for the Open Cup, which is unfortunate. Yep.
Formal Let 532 on Reddit said, when Hack came in last year, guys played for him. It's clear Olaf has no connection with these players. Goal or no goal?
I would say no goal only because I feel that the players played better under Hack, and I think it's because it was the new coach bump where we saw that, yeah, they started playing better. But let's not forget that this season did not exactly, it didn't end with us in the playoffs. It still ended on a low note. So I would say that's a no goal only because, yeah, the team looked better. I think people are misremembering how the season ended simply because of how bad it is now. It's what frequency bias or there's some bias like it's that we're trying to rationalize how things have to be better. It can't just be this bad. And we remember Hackworth, his lineups were a mess. His substitutions were a mess. Like it wasn't like this turned into the Cincinnati team. Like we weren't Cincinnati FC after Hackworth came in. We're still this team. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with you about the recency bias and stuff like that, where it feels like this is the worst coach. I know at the time there were a lot of people saying that Hack wasn't going to be our long-term coach. And part of it too is that,
hey, we were two of those.
Yeah, honestly, part of it is just like, we're like, give us anything because anything would be better. And honestly, I think Hackworth is the kind of guy that would look at his tactics and say, hey, this isn't working. Let's at least try something different. I gotta at least give him credit. I'm sorry. The only adjustment that I've seen so far is that Celio's been playing, and he's been playing more of a hybrid left wing back versus a left winger, something like in between. That's been really the only adjustment that I've seen here.
Yeah. I'll be interested to know, like, what was the shift from the first couple of games when we were a defensive stalwart, but we still couldn't score, to now? Is it that I want to say it's because, like, the defense gets tired and they give up goals late, but, like, they're out there the entire match. The shit doesn't change. The stuff doesn't change. It just, what is happening with the fitness, with the way that we are running our team. And in fact, I have one real quick that I saw. It was a comment about Lutz make or not Lutz, but
While you're finding that, let me answer
there we
this.
go.
I think the reason why we're getting tired is because we are too defensive. The thing is when you're on offense, there's pretty much like one or two, three players that are kind of playing, and mostly the person with the ball is expending energy. The problem is with when you're on defense, the entire team, all 11 players have to be on alert. They have to be moving around. They have to be trying to be one step ahead of the offense. It is more difficult to be on defense than it is on offense. So if we spend the entire game, quote unquote, parking the bus, which is not true parking the bus, but you guys get what I'm saying, like this low mid block, you're playing a lot of defense and you're getting tired because you're pressing and running and doing crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're getting tired at the end of these games.
I wonder if the difference is that our midfield has been chopped into just nothing right now because of injury with Durkin, and you've got Leuven just disappearing quite physically and literally. And our midfield is gone. We don't have a midfield at this point, and the back line is taking the brunt of all of it. And I wonder if it's not so much as a physical toll, but also it's a mental toll where you have to constantly be on when you're right. If your offense has the ball on the other end, you have a chance to refresh. You have a chance to try to find yourself. You have a chance to talk with your goalie. You have a chance to do those things. If you're constantly on the mark, you're going to give up. And I think teams have cued in that we have no offense. So barrel it down there. Yeah. Look at all the time the teams spend in our final third. And like all we can do is pass back and forth, and we're expending energy. All right. So I've got one about fitness. So this is one after Olaf had made a comment in a previous game. It says, so Olaf complained about fitness. How did this team that used to press so well? Oh, that's a show brilliant 2127 Reddit. How did this team that used to press so well all match, all season, go to a team that can't finish 70 minutes without asking to be subbed, throwing them under the bus after he parked it? So I guess the gist of this comment is Olaf is throwing his team under the bus, goal or no goal, with the comment about their fitness.
Yeah, I think the fitness thing is absolutely true. There's got to be something. Maybe the other thing, part of it is we haven't really seen tons of rotation, in my opinion. The only rotation we've seen is literally because of injuries. By the way, with the last comment that we were talking about, one thing that really changed between the first few games and now, Kessler. Remember, when Kessler's on the field, we didn't have Timo out there. We didn't have Yarrow out there, or both of them out there. We had Kessler, who really did truly anchor down that back line. So it was a totally different back line than what we have now. And then, yes, about the fitness, I think we haven't really seen tons of rotation. I think this might have been one of the bigger rotations where we didn't have Klaus out there, or Betcher, by the way, until the very end.
80th.
Yeah, 83rd. Like, after you're down by 3 goals, like, what's the point? Like, why did you even sub these guys?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. My God, do you remember we were talking about Kessler being the defensive player of the year? That's how, and he won like defensive player of the match. Like, he is a stalwart, and it'd be good to have him back. But yeah, we're missing. Like, I don't make excuses about injuries, but the midfield and Kessler, like, those are, like, at least defensively, those are our key players, and they've been out. And we've got Nilsson out. By the way, we've been calling Nilsson Mr. Glass since last year, and it's starting to take effect. People are starting to, then other people are seeing it too. So, like, I thought that was
so
funny.
Question for you. A lot of people are saying fire Olaf, and then some people are saying, well, Olaf has been giving grace because we've had all these injuries. I mean, imagine Kessler, who, like we said, could have been defensive player of the year, has been hurt for how many weeks now. Leuven is unfortunately on personal leave. Durkin is hurt, et cetera, et cetera. All these players are hurt. Do you give, well, a goal or no goal? Olaf should get a pass until the full team is healed up.
Oh God, if you would have asked me this, well, 13 hours ago, I would have cussed you out and said, no, fire him now. But time being what it is, you're able to look at more evidence, you're able to get more information. And I would almost have to say, we got to give him enough rope to hang himself. That's what we'll say. We have to have him say like, well, he's not getting fired. We have to say that right now. He is not getting fired. I've been saying that for 5 weeks now. He will not get fired for the end of the season. It won't happen. But if he has his full complement for the rest of the season, and after the summer window transfer, we still don't see anyone coming in, and he gets his full team, and we're still this. By the way, at that point, we are spoon contenders. Galaxy's gonna figure it out. If we get the wooden spoon, he's got to go.
Absolutely.
He's got to go. And if he gets this team, if he has the team that he has, and he should be doing well, he's got to go. 1 year is enough. But what if we get a team back and we miss the playoffs by 1 game? Miss the playoffs by what? 4 points. What if we get that close? We got to give him another season, right? We have to be able to see what Olaf Ball can really do. That's what I think. I think if it is an absolute train wreck and he has everyone like he did, like I think that's what got Carnell fired. Carnell had his team and it still was off the rails. And I think they're probably giving this guy more grace simply because as soon as he came in, the team was just decimated. I don't know. But then again, we're making excuses, and I don't like excuses.
Here's my thing, though.
It's not excuses, it's reasoning.
Here's my thing, though, right? So part of soccer, and actually any sport, but especially soccer, there's always a lot of injuries. You can't have a coach just only get graded on when they have a full team. Name me a team in soccer right now that's basically had no injuries and has had their full complement. Maybe there is one, but the point is that's not the norm. The norm is to have players injured. Even star players get injured sometimes. I mean, I'm thinking back even like with Messi during whatever the cup was that he was playing in. You know, he got injured with his ankle. Then he was out for a few weeks. It happens. You cannot count on always having your full complement of players. That's what part of a coach is saying, okay, I have to navigate these problems. So I personally absolutely am grading him fully on this because this is just the reality. You're not going to have your perfect starting 11 every single time. Maybe at the beginning of the season, maybe, but even players get hurt in preseason.
But I would agree with you in that we should see some flexibility and we should be seeing some kind of offense. And we're not seeing anything. And I don't know. We don't have the offensive players. One of our DPs is a midfielder. Like, what are we doing? Like, it looked great. Hardo looked great at the beginning of this when we signed him. We had Toykert that was also looking great. But it's like, he's a DP. And he's playing great as a midfielder, but he has no one to pass to because our other DP, by the way, can't find the field right now because he scored 1 time essentially in the last calendar year. And we have to get more players in. We have to spend more money. We have to get more players in. This is the experiment was great at the beginning. We got to move on. But I like your question. The question was good. Does he get a pass? And millionaires don't get passes. Millionaires don't get passes. You get paid enough money to perform. I, as a teacher, wouldn't get a pass if my class was performing like this. You, as a doctor, would definitely not get a pass if your patients start falling off because you're like, oh, I didn't have the right equipment. Well, who gives a shit? Like, you just killed a guy. Like, that wouldn't matter. Like, yeah, if I start losing students, I can't blame my aides, right? It's on me. The buck's got to stop with me. So yeah, that's me, man. I think that's. Oh, by the way, let's end it off with a humorous story. Let's end this off with a humorous story. So
let's hear it.
My sister recently got a job as the intake person at an ER. At a St. Louis hospital. So when you get sick, you get hurt, you come in, you see her and she gets your name. So she's been telling me a lot of really weird stories and people get hurt. That's what they do. Well, she told me yesterday, she said, I just had a guy come in who cut his toe off with a lawnmower And that's all she had to say to me. And she knows that I know. And I said, hold on, I got to tell my crew. And the story is this, guys. So 40 years ago, which, by the way, I told my wife this morning, I can't believe I'm telling a story about 40 years ago and I was alive during that time. Doesn't make sense to me. But when I was like 4, my dad was mowing the lawn. We had a very steep hill in our front yard, mowing the lawn with sandals on. My dad mowed his lawn with flip-flops. And he wasn't paying attention like you're wont to do. And he slid underneath the lawnmower and it cut his big toe off. And he's screaming in the yard. And I'm come running. I'm like, what, Dad? And he's cussing at me. Find my toe, find my toe. So as a 4-year-old little baby boy, Steve, I go run around looking for the toe and I find it. And I put his toe in a styrofoam cup with ice. And we run to the hospital. And by the grace of whomever, they're able to reattach his toe. And it actually worked. He's got a little dangly digit and everything. And they put him on crutches and they say, don't do it again. He's on crutches for like 6 weeks. He heals up. What is he? This man goes out again with regular shoes on, goes out and mows that lawn and cuts his toe off.
Are you kidding me?
Cuts the same
No
the
way.
same damn toe off. But this time it's gone. And so now my dad's got 9.5 toes on one of his feet.
Where did the toe go?
And this guy came in yesterday. Oh, it just disintegrated probably. We don't know. Like an animal got it or something. Yeah, it was gone. And it's the same.
No.
Yeah, it's the same toe.
Are you kidding me?
And so now my dad's got 9.5 toes. Nope. And that's my weird toe story. So that's my Steve toe story. It's hilarious. He doesn't wear sandals anymore at all. And every once in a while, we'll catch him with his shoes off, and I'll giggle at him because he cut his toe off twice.
Oh my gosh. Talk about insanity. We thought Olaf was insane by doing the same thing over and over again. Literally, your dad did that.
Which, by the way, real quick, we have to erase 9 weeks without a win.
So if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever podcast, he literally has a board and he said weeks without a win and he erased 9. Now we're at 10. And in the circle part of 10, he wrote like a sad face. Oh my.
Yeah, 10 weeks without a win.
Okay.
That's 2.5 months.
Steve,
2.5 months.
I really don't like this like little tradition that we have here. I would love if this was like weeks with a win and we're counting up.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Well, the number's going up. It's just going up the wrong damn way. If it was on a graph, it'd be the wrong quadrant we're going down.
Hey, brother Steve.
You know what?
Take us out of here.
We're good. Yeah.
We're toast.
All right, guys. We're toast. We're toast. All right. Let's go ahead. Stand on top of your desk. Pump your hands in the air and go, Offer City, baby!